Today we are going to learn a fantastic new technique for answering all Part 2 questions in the IELTS exam. What is the technique? Well, instead of following all of the points in the Part 2 answer as normal, we go rogue and we tell a 2-minute story. The story will start with a brief introduction. Then it will begin by talking about the past. Then we will add descriptions, opinions, and then end in the future. But don't worry guys, I'm going to give you some really simple prompts that you can use during the process. Let's start by talking about the introduction, which will start in the same way as always. There are many something I could choose. However, if I had to pick one, it would be as simple as that. Next, we will say, I chose that because. This is a really nice way to lead into your answer. Next, we will start by reflecting on the past, telling a story in the past. Some prompts we can use for this is to simply say, I recall in the past, or I can vividly remember in the past. Even better, you might start by saying, when I was younger, when I was a child, when I was a teenager. Or we can say something like, in my younger years. Then that will lead nicely onto a more detailed description. Now, you don't necessarily need any prompts here, but you might just say, so let me tell you a little bit more about that. Or we might say, let me clearly explain what I mean by. After giving the description, we will then give our opinion. In my opinion, from my personal perspective, as far as I'm concerned, this will give that detail, that beautiful structure to your answer. And finally, we will end in the future. In the future, I think, or next year, or looking forward. Now let's use this in one of our sample answers. And guys, I have one of my favorite questions prepared. The question is, describe an important festival or celebration in your country. You should say when it happens, where it happens, what people do to celebrate, and finally explain why it is important. Here we go. There are many wonderful celebrations I could talk about. However, if I had to pick one, it would be Christmas holiday. I chose this because it is the biggest landmark event in the Western calendar. I can vividly remember in my younger years, all of my family travelled back to my hometown in the thriving metropolis of London on the 25th of December each year. We gathered together and enjoyed a festive meal, including roast beef and roast turkey. We may also, I can recall, have enjoyed a few glasses of champagne during this special occasion as well. So let me tell you a little bit more about Christmas. Christmas is the time in the Western calendar when we celebrate the birth of Jesus Christ in the Christian religion. Certainly in the past that was the case, although nowadays it is much more commonly associated with giving gifts and presents to the people we love most. In my opinion, Christmas will always have a special place in my heart because it is a time for families to gather together and discuss all of the trials and tribulations of the previous year. I can remember clearly last year my brother surprised everybody as he traveled back from Vietnam to enjoy this celebration. That is why in the future I will always enjoy Christmas with the people I love most in the world. My stunning family. Do you see, guys? By using this technique, I can show so much passion and enthusiasm. I'm telling a long, continuous story, and naturally all of my advanced grammar structures and vocabulary comes out. Trials and tribulations is a particular highlight there in the course of that speaking. I would encourage you to do this when you're planning your questions, just to follow these formulas, these lines which will allow you and encourage you to tell a story. Now let's have a look at another question. Now this one is a little bit more negative, and I want you to try and listen to the changes in my voice for a negative question. The question is, describe a time you received bad service. You should say where it happened, when it happened, why the service was bad, and explain how you felt about it. There are many terrible services I could talk about. However, if I had to pick one, it would be at a Michelin-starred restaurant on my birthday. I chose this because I will never forget the unbelievably negative experience I had during this special day. In the past, I can recall we visited a really high-end and fancy restaurant located in the heart of the majestic mountains of Dalat. Once we arrived at the restaurant, the waiter told us he had no confirmation of my booking. My family and I had to wait for 45 minutes to find a table. And then, once we were sat down, the waiter accidentally spilt wine on my mother's dress. A beautiful white dress that was now covered in red wine. As if that wasn't enough, then the waiter told us they had run out of chocolate cake. Let me tell you what I mean by running out of chocolate cake. It meant that nobody was prepared to sing happy birthday to me. In my opinion, this is totally unforgivable because the birthday celebrations are always the highlight of my year, when the people I love most gather together to celebrate together in style. Next year, I will never return back to that restaurant, but will still enjoy birthdays with the people I love most. Guys, in that answer, did you see the negative intonation in my voice? The waiter spilt wine on my mother's dress, a beautiful white dress that was now covered in red wine. Notice the pause as well, red wine, pause, to emphasize, to add clarity to and feeling and emotion to my answer. You can do this in your IELTS as well. Many students are scared to have a little pause, but often they make you sound more natural. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this new technique. It's a beautiful, beautiful technique you can use for so many wonderful answers in IELTS Part 2. I would encourage you to do it. One more time, remember, give an introduction, talk in the past to begin with, to begin your story, then add a description, a bit more detail, then give your opinion, and finally end in the future tense. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please leave a comment down below and hit subscribe if you enjoyed the video. See you soon. Bye-bye.